Stop letting these politicians run this HBCU black colleges con game on you. Regardless of whether there is a Democrat or a Republican in the Oval Office, every year money is given to HBCUs, black colleges. Every administration funds HBCUs. Even Ron DeSantis, the new Republican boogeyman, gave $20 million to black colleges in Florida. I bet you didn't know anything about that now, did you? With this year's midterms coming up in November and the 2024 presidential election coming up right around the corner, now is the time that we can expect to see more and more black celebrities and political pundits in our community slip on their tap dancing shoes for the Democratic Party to convince and make sure that black Americans vote blue no matter who. The White House, the House of Representatives, and the Senate are all controlled by Democrats, yet they have failed to deliver on passing any type of transformative concrete legislation for the black community. Joe Biden has failed so miserably that his approval rating has dropped to a new all-time low of 38%, yet black Americans are expected to simply reward the Democrats for their poor performance anyways, because like Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for him or his party, then you ain't black. Now, to be honest, that statement appears to be true because black Americans are the only voting demographic that religiously vote Democrat no matter what. We are suffering from what I call political insanity. Now, at one point or another in our lives, we have all heard of Albert Einstein's definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that is what I mean by political insanity. And now I'm going to take it one step further by proving it to you by reading a few excerpts from this Newsweek article titled "Joe Biden Loses Base as Black Voters Want Different 2024 Candidate." President Joe Biden is facing the potential loss of part of his political base as a new poll indicated that a significant number of black voters want a different Democratic presidential nominee in 2024. Biden has repeatedly said he intends to run for a second term in 2024. Biden, 79, is the oldest president in U.S. history and will be 81 on Election Day in 2024. But 64% of Democratic voters said they would prefer another candidate as the party's nominee, according to a New York Times Siena College poll conducted last week. Now, here's the important part. Only 26% said the party should renominate Biden, the poll found. Among black voters, 43% said they think Biden should be the Democratic nominee in 2024. I repeat, only 26% of Democrats said they should renominate Biden. But among black voters, 43%. That's almost half of black voters who said they want Biden back. Political insanity. Biden was given a 33% job approval rating in the poll, which was conducted among 849 registered voters between July 5th and 7th. But black voters did give Biden a higher rating, 62%, than voters in any other race, ethnicity, age group, or educational level. So across the board, it didn't matter if you were talking to a black man or a black woman. It didn't matter if you were talking about a black man or black woman who was 18 years old, or if they were elderly and in their latter years of life. It didn't matter if you were talking to a black man or black woman who had a doctorate's degree or a GED. None of those things mattered because across the board, black folks said, Joe Biden is all right with me. 62% said that. Political insanity. Now, one of the main reasons this political insanity persists among us is because whether or not we'll admit it, many of us don't actually think for ourselves, and we simply take our cues from black celebrities or political pundits. Now, that's a harsh pill to swallow, but it's simply the truth. Black people like Charlamagne and Van Jones are the black elite with significantly large platforms, yet never use them to actually hold the Democrats accountable consistently. And that's the key word, consistently. But in the case of Van Jones and many others like him, such as Al Sharpton, He uses his platform to defend the Biden administration and the Democrats no matter what. Now, Van Jones is about as fake as they come. Just look at him in the Oval Office with Ivanka Trump and her husband Jared Kushner. He is so happy to be with the Trump family. This man is smiling from ear to ear. Look at him cheesing when Trump gave him the pen that he used to sign the criminal justice reform bill. He was so happy. Better yet, I'll even show you the video. But before I do that, just picture this in your mind for a moment. Have you ever been at a kid's party where there is a clown performing, or just some sort of live entertainment where the clown and or the entertainer looks at the crowd of kids and says, "Hey, which one of you wants a prize?" And all of the kids raise their hands up high in the air, screaming out, "Me, me, me." That was Van Jones in this video I'm about to show you.
Grassley just said, "Sir, there's a vote going on in the Senate, and I haven't missed a vote since 1993. Is that true? Get out of here, Joe. Go ahead, go. Well, who wants that bill? 1993?
Yes. I've been here 3 hours waiting for this.
I bet they'll hold that vote open for us, Chuck.
Yeah, I think so. That's great, Chuck. There you go, Chuck.
Great word.
He's missed the vote since
An hour and a half late.
Worth the wait, worth the wait.
There we go. Thank you, everybody. That's
Trump wasn't even looking for him. Look at him. He's like a big kid. But then fast forward to the presidential election when Joe Biden wins, and now he's on CNN forcing himself to cry as if voting out Trump was the equivalent of voting out Hitler or Mussolini.
Ann, what are your thoughts? It's well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters. And it's easier for a whole lot of people. If you're Muslim in this country, you don't have to worry if the president doesn't want you here. If you're an immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's going to be happy to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason. It's a vindication for a lot of people who have really suffered. You know, the I can't breathe. You know, that wasn't just George Floyd. That was a lot of people that felt that they couldn't breathe.
I mean, seriously, can you be any more fake? But this is who black folks listen to. Now, here he is carrying water for Joe Biden when asked about how the Biden administration has failed the black community.
For African-American voters in particular, there's a special heartbreak because, first of all, the pain is more intense. The rising gas prices, food prices, it's really walloped the black community in a particular way. But the hopes were so much higher. And so you have a community that came out in huge numbers in 2018, huge numbers in 2020, expecting things to get a lot better. And instead, economically at least, it didn't come true. It got worse. And so you're going through a summer now of real heartbreak with black voters. The polls show that. And I think Biden's got to take it very seriously.
How?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, I don't think that they're doing a good job or even trying to communicate some of the stuff that's been done for the black community. For instance,
Biden has done nothing for the black community. But carry on, Van.
Billions of dollars for black colleges. Nobody knows that.
Stop letting these politicians run this HBCU black colleges con game on you. Regardless of whether there is a Democrat or a Republican in the Oval Office, every year money is given to HBCUs, black colleges. Every administration funds HBCUs. Even Ron DeSantis, the new Republican boogeyman, gave $20 million to black colleges in Florida. I bet you didn't know anything about that now, did you? Now, you see how when Republicans give money to HBCUs, it no longer means anything? When Boogeyman DeSantis gives $20 million to HBCUs in Florida, nobody cares. It's completely meaningless. But when a Democrat does it, in this particular case, Joe Biden, now it's some sort of big accomplishment when it really isn't. Governments, whether they be federal or state, giving money to HBCUs is no different than you paying your electric bill in your home. It's just part of what you do, and everybody does it. Therefore, it's nothing special.
The Department of Justice has Kristen Clark in place now. They are actually now going after police departments and fixing police departments in a way that hadn't happened under Trump. They've backed off. The Department of Justice under Trump was charging people way too much criminally. They're backing off of that.
Stop letting these politicians associate criminality with Black America. Black Americans and criminal are not synonymous. These are not words that can be used interchangeably, and anybody doing this is your enemy. But you see, these politicians, particularly the Democrats, do this all the time. Therefore, when extremely basic common sense criminal justice bills pass, they turn around and say, look, you see, look at what we've done for the blacks.
You also have more black women put on the federal courts of appeals than has ever been done by any president. Even though it's had 8 years, he's done it in less than 2.
Symbolism. Putting black women in high places only benefits them as an individual and does nothing for the black community as a whole.
He's doing stuff. They're not communicating. I think if I were the Democratic Party right now, the black community is a firewall. They need to be spending a lot of money on black radio, a lot of money in black media to just point out the fact that Joe Biden is there for the black community and is doing stuff. Right now, that particular pain is not being addressed aggressively enough.
Well, you can't address what you're not doing, Van. So now let's move on to Charlamagne. Now, I've played this video before in the past, but I'm going to play it again now. And this video you're going to hear is of Charlamagne openly admitting that Joe Biden has done worse things to black people than Donald Trump has ever done. Yet he still advocated for black Americans to vote for Joe Biden.
So when they put all those police in our neighborhood and they hit us with those harsh sentences for whether it's the 94 crime bill, the 88 crack laws, they can justify that based off this is where all the trouble is at. This is where all the problems is at. You seen Joe Biden stand on the Senate floor and say that verbatim. He was like, I don't care about the conditions that cause these predators to become predators. We need to fix these now, because if we don't, they're going to end up killing our moms and our fathers and our brothers and our sisters.
Is Joe Biden good?
Nah, it's tough.
I got questions.
I think he's a good guy with bad on him.
Man,
he got some bad on him.
I say it all the time. Joe Biden has done worse things to black people than Donald Trump ever has.
For real?
Hell yeah, man. The 88 crack laws. Like,
educate me.
He
did the 88.
He did the 88 crack laws with Strom Thurmond. Strom Thurmond was a mother racial segregationist from South Carolina.
Do I really have to say anything else after that? He admitted that the man he advocated for, Joe Biden, has been worse for black people than Donald Trump ever was. But vote for Biden anyways? And these are the people that we're listening to. And I already know in the comment section, someone's going to be saying to me, oh, he doesn't speak for me. He doesn't speak for black people, when he clearly does, and it's clearly effective. Just go to the most recent interview that he did on The View and read the comment section. Black folks are eating up every word that comes out of his mouth. And now that we're here on this interview that he did with The View, this makes for a perfect segue into the actual point of me bringing up Charlamagne, because his role over the next 2 years is going to be that of someone who is pretending to hold the Democrats accountable.
Are you still frustrated with the way the Democrats are countering the Republicans?
Yes, I feel like Democrats have tried every political strategy except for courage, you know? And I'm on record as saying the four things.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I think there's 4 things that need to be done to preserve democracy. You know, one is get rid of the filibuster so you can properly legislate.
Manchin won't have it.
That's right.
And Kirsten Sinema, too.
That's right.
So it's not his fault.
One
not
is
Biden's fault.
That's right. One is expand the Supreme Court. You got to protect voting rights, and you got to prosecute everybody involved with the insurrection on January 6th. It takes courage to vote to get rid of the filibuster, but it also takes courage to call out people like Joe Manchin, to call out people like Kristen Sinema, and let us, the general public, know those are the people blocking progress in this party.
You feel they're not doing that enough?
Absolutely not.
And that's exactly what he was doing in this interview on The View. In that interview, Charlamagne appears to be getting ambushed by the multiple talk show hosts after he gave some lightweight critique of the Democratic Party. And the closer that we get to 2024, you're going to hear him more and more appearing to be critical of the Democratic Party. Now, if you go to my YouTube page and click on the videos tab, there is where you will see what being critical of the Democratic Party looks and sounds like. And that is not what Charlamagne does. He is simply a pretender, because at the end of the day, regardless of whatever he says, all roads will always lead back to the Democratic Party. Now, if I did Breakfast Club numbers, the Democrats would never win another election again. But luckily for them, I don't. But mark my words, the closer we get to 2024, the more Charlamagne is going to sound like he's actually critical of the Democrats and that he's just so frustrated. And believe me when I tell you, there's going to be a lot of black celebrities and social media personalities like Tamika Mallory that are going to do the same thing. But in the end, all roads lead back to the same party that has been letting you down for 58 years. You've been voting blue no matter who to the tune of 85 to 90% for 58 years. And all you have to show for it is an ever widening racial wealth gap where the median black wealth is headed to 0 by 2053. Political insanity. And with all that being said, that does it for today's video. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you'll be notified whenever I release a new video. All social media links will be pinned in the comment section below. Please make sure you text tdhiphop to number 33222. That's tdhiphop to number 33222. That way you'll get a direct text notification whenever I release a new video, but it also serves as a protection plan for myself in case YouTube ever gives this channel the axe. I'll be able to send you a direct link to where you can find me next. And last but not least, for those of you who have a love and appreciation for the work that I put in on this channel, the number one way you can show your support is through Patreon. For only $3 a month, that will help put me in position to take TD Hip Hop Media off of YouTube. Remember, the goal is not to grow big on YouTube, but to grow independent of YouTube. And for those who have issues with joining Patreon, you could also hit the join button that's next to the subscribe button, and that way you can become an official channel member for as little as $3 a month as well. And lastly, if you have not already, please make sure you join the emailing list. There is no way that I can go independent of YouTube if I cannot take the audience with me. And the link to that will be pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you for your time, and until the next video, peace.